Good morning. Welcome to the WiseOne channel. I am your host, Lady Karen, the priestess. It's Sunday, and I'd like to talk about religion or spiritual organization. Because religion, so far in history, is an extremely powerful tool that it can breed opportunity for wonderful ways of helping people as well as dangerously hurting people in ways that are difficult to recover from if people recover. And checks and balances were not made. So it's weird to call one a cult and the other, not the occult. I hope you guys are doing well today. We're going to take a moment. I'm going to take a deep breath, and you can take one with me. In through the nose, hold, and let it out. I'm going to take another deep breath in through the nose. Take a belly breath. Hold, and let it out through the mouth. All the way up. Spilling as far as you can go. Another deep breath in. Nice and relaxed. Your back straight. Hold. Let and release. Let go. Let it all out. Allow your muscles to relax. There. I'm allowing my muscles to relax, and you can allow yours as well. Return. In. Hold. Out. And calm. Confidence. And all the things that you particularly need. I am doing. So prevent you from being able to achieve what you want. Breathe in all things that you need and want. Breathe out all things that to avoid. Allow for a flow. That's what I'm doing. And now that I'm ready to open my eyes, you can open yours if you want. So if you've closed them, that builds intention. And then I just have to fulfill that intention. That sets the pace. That sets what I want to achieve. Today I'm going to be crocheting. I wonder. The lighting. That's kind of cute. So I can achieve the lighting. That lighting is good, but it's hard to crochet with that lighting. So I'm going to adjust. Bear with me. Please, if you would. Okay. See how overexposed that is. It should make it easier for me to crochet. Now, as we're getting further in this blanket, it's nice. It's great. It's like a shawl so far. Like, oh, it's so nice. It is kind of a shawl. Or, something. But I'll be making a blanket. Trying to make a blanket. So I'm drinking my coffee. that are cast are pretty. Okay, so now I have, with the safari, completed the double crochet, and now I'm working my half double crochet. Interesting wording here. I'll see how that works out. Oh, no, that's bunching, so I'm gonna have to do two half double crochets per each double in order for it to be straight. See what that does. Yeah, looks a bit straighter. So I'm trying to form this spiritual organization to help people. So I've noticed through trauma from the left afterwards, it's not like it's over. I noticed that the healing process takes a lifelong endeavor, practice, and performance, discipline of sorts. I'm learning a lot about healing from trauma. And I see this culture of trauma in many parts of my circles and in my interactions with lots of people. So I really want to tell people with my ability to counsel and my spiritual sureties. That's my calling. That's the strongest pull. It's like, this is what I'm supposed to do. There's no doubt in it. So we're getting started on the someone's click near me. I just started before that. Yeah, okay, so it's two half crochets to a double crochet, and that's pretty. Yeah, something like that. Did one before. I think that's how I got the smiley. So I decreased my stitch, and then I had to do weird wonky stuff to increase my stitch across, and it was weird. Very, very weird. So when I go around my blanket, it'll be, I don't know if I can configure a straight border. It'll be interesting. Yeah, I can do it. Do it. It's true. But honestly, my spirituality has been what helped me, and I wanted it available for those who need help. That it would help for them. So that's what this WiseOne, this part of the WiseOne lifestyle is, the spiritual aspect, spiritual organization. Is that right? From what I just said. But it doesn't seem to break it to it. Okay. That was a zipper this time. So I've been trying to figure out how to stitch this lifestyle that I'm wanting to achieve. So- And so I want to reflect on it and try to get a clearer picture or to bring it to the surface of this deep-rooted dreams and inspirations. I find that sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's very clear, sometimes it's just intuitive more so than articulated. And these paths I'm following have this way of healing. And for me, it's very logical. The spiritual is very logical. The supernatural is very natural to me. The pattern recognitions, the way about moving and healing process. Yeah, that's, I've gone through. And the truth of the matter is the healing process is not completely linear in a way that it progresses in a uniform pattern. It's not, oh, I was hurt and then I started to heal and then I started to get a little bit better and every day I got a little bit more better, more better. I got a little bit more and more improved on or better, more healed. It's a interesting reality that sinks in that this progress that is made is staggered. Like last week, or the last couple of weeks, in the healing process, I felt very depressed. I felt very low. And I taught myself to quit beating myself up for feeling low or bad. And it made recovering so much easier. And I want that for other people, is that their need to beat themselves up, if it hinders rather than helps, to let it go. For me, it hinders my ability to recover. So the way I react to disciplining by the stick rather than the carrot, the aversion being presented with an aversion. Hey, don't do this or bad things will happen. For me, was not my healthy work. So I work better with neutral, neutral, neutralitative working or a factual. It allows me in my healing process to take a step back. It allows that desensitization to, because for some people, it helps them to look at themselves in that third person or to look down. It's healing mechanism as that happened to somebody else, or it's this is not good or bad, or to take the facts out of the event or the effects out of the process. And then I continue and then I go on and go with it and I move forward. That allows me to move forward because otherwise, and the emotions that I have been through most of my childhood in shock, emotional shock, which I thought I just didn't have emotions. I just thought, no, it was shock. I was traumatized. And so in that trauma, a lot of times, and then I would get a whole bunch of emotions I didn't understand, or I would get this dam of emotions that broke. And a lot of healing emotions that I felt were like giving birth. I was flooded with hormones. I felt like the air was saturated with hormones of giving birth, and it was so auspicious and wonderful. and I was drugged, so the memory of it is not clear. I was like, "Give me the pain relievers. I can't take this pain." I was not taught what to do with my pain and to be able to take it. It was intolerable for me, and so these are the things that I've learned, and I want to help and offer help to others. Uh, yeah, and that's my calling, and that's the inner calling that has brought me a lot of peace. That has brought me a lot of healing, and that has brought me a lot of abilities to recover from a depression episode or a down episode or a down period where maybe because of the environment or maybe because it was just an internal time to step down from my progress, to take a look back from it, to take a rest period. These things, like music, like life, you it plays this beautiful tapestry that you can experience if you take life like music, and it has high points and low points and rest points, and it has a rhythm that can speed up and slow down. The healing process is very similar to that. And the spiritual part of I took spiritual priorities in my healing. And I believe because it's so effective, because it's so long term, that if I put my spiritual healing first, the physical healing and the emotional and mental healing is so much more profound and longer lasting. And for me, that is the lead. So if you take your mind, your body, your heart, your emotions, your spiritual, and your whole embodiment, your soul, the embodiment, the spirit, um, the totality of your mind, body, heart, and soul, and your aspect, your higher self aspect, and you bring it together and use it as one. It is part of your, like each aspect of your digit of your hand or every other digit of your body, mind, heart, or pumping of in your gut, even heart or gut, your torso, and your so you have your mind, your body, and your soul and your spirit. Uh, if you look at these aspects that are separated out, but yet still remain whole, these lessons that I have learned, that I am sharing with you, these connect and are intertwined and are whole. I led with spirituality to help heal emotionally, and you wear your emotions physically. We're such emotional beings that everything is processed through the amygdala. I want to say amygdala, but I don't have the visual with me. So the auditory. Sometimes if I say something and people say it back to me, I'm like, oh no, that is so strange. What do you mean talking about, the amygdala? The amygdala just, so my auditory, like I don't trust it as much because I don't have full hearing. So for my personal built and my life, I am a very visual learner and a very heavily visual um, person. I will do my best to bring forth a experience in my videos for those who are audio based or audio heavy or audio auditory learners and visual learners. I would love to have Like those, when I figure out how to edit, auto edit. When I figure out how to edit, I love to have like little cards that pop up to show for the visual learners. And then for those who are hands-on approach, um, I'd like to bring those lectures into full, or these experiences and these videos into full parts of experience, to allow a wide variety of viewers to get a full experience, to reach everybody. But the best way to do that is to understand myself first, as a priestess. That's my experience, to be grounded in my own experience, and to be grounded into who I am, and to understand my ego in a healthy manner, to allow this, which will help me navigate in a more selfless manner, to allow it to reach more people inclusively, to reach more those who are living, whether they're human or animal or plant, or fungi, or bacterial or viral aspect um, of our micro world versus a macro solar experience, so that it's expanding and attracting. And it sounds crazy in totality, but when you break out each branch of our senses, our experiences, and understanding our own divinity within ourselves, our own spirituality, our own individual living entity that we are, and we understand great divinity and, say, goddess or goddess aspect, and the god and goddess higher power, and accepting and inclusively to those who don't believe in a higher power. That is that you could still apply your inner spirituality and your inner divinity. For me, it's paying WiseOne is paying respect to the great divinity, as the God and Goddess aspect, Lord and Lady aspect, and our inner divinity, and our divinity with ourselves, our divinity with where we connect to each other, connect to our community, connect to our ecosystem that is around us, and then to connect to our earth, and the way our earth is in our solar system and in our universe, and in our like Milky Way, and those kind of aspects. I'm finding, and I love how, this tag is not right. It bothers me. I'm like, I notice it more knowing that I'm autistic, and those have bothered me the whole time, but to suppress it in autism, to suppress the need to fidget, or the need to move around, or the need to be individual, unique selves, takes away the energy that I need for the fact that I'm in a unit, in a cellular unit of a living organism of life, in a household. It takes away my ability to attend to that, and I find that I need to seclude myself, and that is much more than beneficial to myself or to my loved ones. So we have this divinity, I recognize the divinity of a higher power. I recognize my divinity that recognizes the divinity in the individual, yourself, you, and I recognize the divinity of our connection that I'm posting on YouTube. I recognize the divinity that was in our goddess, in our world, in our Mother Nature, in our Mother Earth, to refer to the feminine aspects and of all that, and how it retracts, and how that it expands, and how that it is eternally retracting and expanding in of itself in this beautiful world that we have, and the aspects of our beautiful world, and the astrospect of it all. So that's how the conversation sounds so strange if you're new to the retracting idea that expands and retracts and pulse like our solar waves kind of give a pulse of mechanism that can talk, the electromagnet of the earth and our own electromagnetism, and we have this is scientifically been proven that there's what is seemingly a minute like radiation that pulses, and that has an effect that sometimes to those who are sensitive it is a very blatant obvious effect. To others we may not be able to trace the effect, um, or they feel like that has no effect on them at all, and though they can't see the unseen, or they can't understand the unseen results of these effects that it has on them. And to some, like myself, who are very aware, and that speaks to others. So we have this pulse, this vibration, this intuition that we follow, and that builds our patterns of effects and side effects, and yeah, this kind of thing that I preach about in my religious videos when I get religious is the kind of things that I want to share. I want to use for those who wish to help them, to help themselves heal through trauma that I see so blatantly cultured in many aspects. So it's weird when I see things that cultures that don't have as much trauma, or that I see people that are cultured and results of less trauma, or that are healing from trauma. It's kind of like a shock, a culture shock. Uh, yeah, that it's very interesting uh, kind of thing to experience. So yeah, that's kind of way that I do need to organize it, and I do need to make it available. I need to introduce it. Say that it's religion. The way it has religious roots, being an organization, 1, 2, 4, that has spiritual roots, um, and it has divinity, a great goddess, divine, great God, and they are as named in many names as they are nameless, and they hold a priceless point in our lives, and our inner divinity amongst ourselves, connection with ourselves is equally important that cultivates in WiseOne spiritual organization. And this I want to bring to people as it develops. It's something that is needed, and invention is the mother of necessity, and there's this necessity for this. And I see it in many other names, and I see it in many other aspects, and I know I'm not the only one that has come up with and come up with these aspects of these legends. And I like sharing my thoughts and getting the inspirations and thoughts of others. Can cultivate experience that allows us healing that we as a species need, that we as a terrestrial planet are in dire need of. And so many effects on these small little effects that have such a high impact. It's these little efforts or these little turns that have such a high impact and such a uh, high yield anything. And I want to heal the things that my ignorance damaged in my earlier years, but have had this strong spiritual connection, a strong spiritual entity in my life, this force being highly spiritual has been quite a path for me. It's brought me the ability to find myself again. And when I find confidence and I find sure steps, true confidence that it's waver's less. And sometimes I lose sight of it in my humanity or betray it because I like to gauge externally. And sometimes we rely heavily on the external input rather than understanding the internal input from an external view. Sometimes when we gauge our external view as judgment, sometimes it damages and harms. It's so unhealthy to our individual persons, to our community, to this organism that is alive, community and sensibilization amongst ourselves and our ecosystem and the way we are unable to thrive. And for me, finding this internal assurances and this internal voice, the strength in this internal voice that I have of my own divinity has allowed me to face these judgments and to know this is who I am. This is what I need to be doing. And sometimes I get quite humanly scared. And I am learning to practice curiosity in the face of fear so that I can find out more. Because this hatred that a lot of people experience stems from anger, and anger I've learned stems from fear. And I have learned that the surety that fear stems from ignorance of what you don't know. So if you feel hatred, or if you feel anger, or if you feel fear, look at what you don't know. Start asking yourself questions. Take a moment into doing these things allows, when you're able to, or if you choose to, it allows and opens up to find peace and to find the inner guidance and to find external guidance. To trust yourself to your external guidance and to your internal guidance. And this compass aligns. So the little part that moves the needle finds more of the drawings that indicate north and the drawings that indicate southeast and west and northeast and northwest, and these parts of this globe, this magnetism, it draws us this inner part that sometimes you are presented with constantly, whether you choose to see it or not, with what we have been taught is either good or bad, something to move towards, something to avoid, or something to stay steady in it neutrally. And so finding that, finding internally, finding that surety, that divinity within ourselves by asking and looking for and searching, we can find where we are presented with uh, simultaneously, we are presented with things that we move towards, things that we move away from, and things that we stay neutral in, and that feel good for us, feel bad for us. And that's funny because it is what it is. But writing is good or writing is bad, um, or we resonate or pulse or find vibe with writing. Is another person want to avoid writing because their experience, their emotions, their consequential experiences and associations are where it's negative to them. Writing is bad. You can hurt somebody's feelings. You can, the words mess up with your intuition of experience. These spells are. So when we look at more of a neutral eye, where the part of the frontal lobe that tells you, yes, do that, no, don't do that, the one that, it's funny because those who have gone through a lot of trauma will hear a no, 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 no voice, don't do this, don't do that, don't speak up, don't talk, don't ask, don't need, don't want. Those you're ugly, you're these things that are negative, these things that we are trying to avoid. Those will be such loud, those unavoidable, those difficult to ignore aspects of our experience. And this voice, somebody who might be far more healthy will say, yes, yes, let's do this, or yes, yes, let's do that. But when you open up curiosity, a different part or different aspect of our brain will light up. Like when we're learning how to play music, this part of the brain will open up and allow for us to enter a flow state of creativity, an ecstasy, or get us up to a nirvana type experience where we're kind of like high, or we're kind of like, in the zone. And this part speaks like where we speak from the goddess, or we speak from God, or we speak from the spirits and our ancestors and our spiritual parts. This part can open up when the part that tells us yes or no, or do or don't do, or that navigates, that louder navigation quiets ourselves. And in our searching self, our searching awareness, this allows, this calling allows to open up, and we find that curiosity brings a better way for our yes and no's and our do's and don'ts to navigate more clearly, and to navigate with more sure steps, and to bring that navigation where they have this equal balance of, I should listen as well as put my input of what I have experienced with surety and certainty, and bridges. When we have that bridge and we have that bilateral aspects of our brains, that as we grow, more left brain, right brain and left brain work. And because, like our left brain can navigate our right hand, that's where that dyslexic look of what's my right brain, what's my left brain, that opens up, and that as we grow starts to merge, and we have less left brain and less right brain action, and we have more understanding of a merged whole brain aspect and maturity. And that opens up where we can ambidextrously move. So if you're in your youth practicing only your right hand, you could develop only right-handed and left-brained strong strengths that affect your whole life. Yeah. So in those aspects of finding your inner self and finding that connection where your frontal lobe and the bilateral parts of your brain start navigating in the face of fear, in the face of uncertainty, in the face of uh, negativity and judgment, and to use in a healthy manner because we have these. These are universal amongst so many humans, and nearly all humans uh, across any country. When these human aspects of ourselves, and we bring this curiosity and open reflection of certainty of internal. We build an internal reflection and an internal navigation allows where these things are open to us. So a person is presented with, say, presented with a room full of people, a person who is taught um, to front and center and to heavily rely on similarities will bring those who are similarly, say, of the same gender or the same when there is gender in the and groups will start to form and clusters will start to form out of the chaotic abilities of a crowd or so we'll be drawn more to those who are spiritual if we are very heavily related with spirituality. We are heavily dependent upon and developed in spiritual aspects. A lot of Christians will get together with a lot of other Christians. A Buddhist will find a lot more peace in amongst other Buddhists. And inclusively, the wise one, I wanted to be able to kind of fluidity of interacting with other forms of those who have found religion or find the divinity or find a God or find an Allah, and to allow for them to come to the wise one religion that it draws and so that you can find your place and realize that your place is open enough to be anywhere and everywhere. Your place in here opens up to those. So, in understanding those who have tried to form laws of attraction, you're drawn to things that you notice, things that you coven your eye is drawn to, things that you are searching for, things that are front and center. So, your intentions really help you navigate to where you're going and what is brought in front of you. Several things are brought in front of you at any given time. Lots of decisions are available, but the decisions that we make instantaneously or timelessly before you can even calculate in a form that we know to calculate, uh, those decisions, those things that we're drawn to, those choices. It'll seem like a bad day will attract bad events, will attract bad feelings, a bad mood because my day is going horribly. But in all, the day has actually just gone by as every day that we've experienced linearly or or non-linearly in a non-linear motion for some, and some rare people. So it'll happen. It'll happen to us as we will interact with what is happening to us. But we will only notice these certain things. So, in learning that, we can consciously grab a hold of, oh, I want a good day, so I will consciously focus on the best day or the things that I'm drawn to, that I like, that I want. And that's where intention occurs. And the result of intention, if we follow through with that intention, when we follow through, oh, the dopamine hits that I get from social media, doom scrolling, that becomes more and more. We search out and we look for and we grab and we may even unconsciously desire and go for what we want, so what we need, what we intend. Our intentions direct us towards these thoughts and these things and these actions and these behaviors that we have in our lives, drawn from thoughts and drawn from beliefs and drawn from actions that interact with each other. And it's part of the same thing, part of who our being is, our behaviors, um, and our habits and our ways of life. And dealing with trauma and dealing with these things have been, well, quite a trip. Yeah. So, in the way that those who need healing should be attracted to those who heal, and it, it tends to happen, but I'm saying can't exclude that other things happen, like those who need to heal are attracted or resonate with those who cause the most harm as well. I've been in bad relationships because I've been used to somebody who's been so harmed that they only resonated or they pulsed these more harming. So it's harm on top of harm on top of harm on top of harm, and so many aspects that it's like a fungi. It reaches in the deepest aspects of who we are and can affect our lives, like our finances, our families, our friends, our relationships that we build, our homes, our modes of transportation, our ecological um, world that we live in, the planets, the animals, and the plants, and the other kingdoms, and the water, and the way the earth moves, and our elements of the earth, and fire, heat, or energy, and our water, air, earth, and heat. These aspects are so ingrained that to pluck, to resonate, to affect, and to be affected by is an amazing is an amazing thing to consider for me. And I've considered, for me, last night, my subconscious drew my attention to the effects that I have had on others' lives in my community and in my circles and in my organisms and my cells. And to be affected, most predominantly how I was affected and how I noticed that my words and my actions, mostly was trying to think, what is real leadership? What is real, why are some people following other people? And how I'm leader and follower, how I was very much a leader in my youth, and how the trauma has brought me into following, and how people don't really follow me as much as I'm like, no, I'm not wrong. And how I had so much doubt, and how much I had followed what people say, and how I'd let people dominate over me. And I learned that, but I'm like, I am a leader. I've had so much leadership. I I hope so that I want this equality of leadership so that people can benefit. It's not so that I can be listened to, but so that in being listened to, everybody benefits. That is why I want leadership. That is why I want, to dominate, is to get this equalship, to establish an equal leadership amongst our community, this symbiotic rather than a leeching system of somebody who's parasitic or somebody, an organism that kind of more dependent on the person to bring up these things. And I've noticed, so to find my own leadership, to find that I have had an impact on lots and lots of people, um, and their actions and the results and how it butterfly effects to say, and how the spells work and how the way I've done things and the way that I do things, I do have an effect on people, and how I speak should be a recognition of, oh, okay then. It's letting me know that I hardly have much battery. So I'm gonna let you guys go and go get a plug. But yeah, I understanding that effect that I have on others allows me to recognize how to navigate a way of speaking and a way of acting and a way of presenting myself in a leadership position and in more of a leadership and in more of my priestesshood, and finding that confidence that has been shaken, that foundation, follow my vibrations, my resonation, the pulsing of who and what I am, finding that internal. And I want others to find their internal divinity. So, yeah, in conclusion, that is the direction that I want to take WiseOne spiritual organization, and recognizing the great divinity of our goddess and the great divinity of God that are one and the same, and yet so many different aspects. And I hope this brings blessings into your life. It's a lot of info for some people, and for some people, it's not nearly enough. Uh, and until we meet again, I want to let you know how much I love you guys and how much I appreciate you guys. So hitting like and subscribe. I think it's the many different aspects of the WiseOne life that I am trying to build. And sharing with me in these many unedited videos. It's raw, whole, unscripted ways of life. It's probably how I should get more subtitles. Maybe I should script some of this outline. But I hope you do well. Until next we meet. Love, 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 guys. And until we meet. Have a good one.